Welcome back to another episode of Cash for Horses. If you have a horse that you were thinking about putting down, just call us at 425-555-HORSECASH.
We definitely do not work for Elmer's.
Glue? Gelatin? We do it all! So this is episode 2 of our podcast, which we still don't have a name for it, but it doesn't... Who cares?
You should get on
so...
the podcast.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's probably been done.
It's fucking hot.
It is hot as dick in here right now. It's a hot as fuck Washington day.
Why don't you open up the blinds or is that for noise cancellation?
That's offensive. Or you just open up the fuck me! Okay.
Did Carter ever tell you about the time when it was me, Caleb Carter, and I? Nice. Anyways, we were all biking down. I was pretty far behind because I was on that shitty bike. We were biking home and whatnot, and this guy drives by and was just like, maybe you should get some lights.
Oh shit, that was so funny. Yeah, it's you know how in Bainbridge Island, how they have the cab drivers that'll just like sit there.
And at the ferry. I'm pretty sure that's a thing just with ferries in general.
Sure, Kingston doesn't do that. Edmonds doesn't do that.
Edmonds doesn't do that?
No, it's just that one.
I could understand Kingston.
Bainbridge is just a really popular place to do that because you're so far away and you're on an island, and a lot of people will just like commute that way. They'll just take the. We used to do that. We used to just take a cab instead of biking.
Yeah, but that's expensive.
For us. But for some people, it's like $9 or whatever. So it's like the cost of a lift, Yeah. It's not that bad.
Makes sense.
Anyways, there's this guy, this Mark Twain looking motherfucker, who just says the weirdest shit. I took a cab with him once. It was Caleb and I. And
Twice, because then
I didn't take him twice.
It was Caleb.
I was with him once. And he said the weirdest shit. He was talking about online poker, and we were talking about the internet.
Of course he was.
And his biggest gripe with the internet was how now there's not a there's restriction on how you can do online poker or something like that with money. You have to.
Yeah, because it's online gambling.
Yeah, so there's regulations for it now, and he was just some stupid bitch made a mistake and now this is.
That's his biggest gripe with the internet.
I'm assuming it was something dumb like that, and he made this big deal about it, and I thought it was so dumb, and he was just complaining about it. But then the funniest shit was he was talking about his nephew or something like that, and he was like, my nephew just wasted $2,000 on World of Warcraft or something like that, and I'm dude, you online gamble, what's the difference? You're not. He's playing a game where he's not winning actual money. He's winning virtual chips.
Yeah. Oh.
And the game that he plays, he doesn't actually get money. It's just fake money. And I'm so what the fuck is the difference? You bought fake money. You used your real money that you could actually spend in real life, and bought fake money that you cannot spend anywhere except on this gambling game.
Can you still auction off World of Warcraft items?
You can do that all. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so.
It's not
So you can make actual money playing World of Warcraft.
We had a cousin that did that. Jeremy's done that before. He's sold stuff on Warcraft.
Yeah, but there was something where they cracked down on that too.
No, dude, you could just because you could sell it to anybody. You could just be sell it to some dude on eBay. It doesn't really matter. Not really big deal. It's not people are gonna be oh fuck this guy for selling shit on Warcraft.
You can also stream your games and make money.
Yeah. You could do that too. I mean, there's tons of ways. But I just thought it was funny as fuck because this guy's complaining about literally the same shit. And he was saying his nephew is just the worst person. He's I can't believe kids these days spending $2,000 on video games. And I'm homie, you just did that. That is 100% what you just did. It's hilarious how you don't realize this. It's the same thing that you did. But so this guy super weird dude. And he complained about shit like that, and I just thought it was super awkward. And he's one of those people that you could tell definitely has a hole in the ground somewhere that's lined with tin, and like just has shelves of beans.
Why would it be lined with tin?
To keep out the fucking nanobots, dude. So the government, after the collapse of civilization, can't read your thoughts.
Dude, first off, you build the outer walls of lead.
Yeah. Mix the lead in with the water, it opens up your third eye.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Dude, he's so weird. He's like a Fallout Shelter type dude. And like, yeah, he gave me and Caleb a ride home one time. I thought he was the weirdest fucking guy. But so we're like biking home. This was recently, like last week. We're like biking home. And we're on the bridge. And he pulls up next to me. And he was like, hey, you guys should really think about like getting some lights on your bikes or something like that. And keep in mind, we have front lights and rear reflectors. So it's like, you know, yeah, it would be, I have a rear light, but it's like out of batteries and I'm just too lazy to get new batteries for it. But it's like, you know, I have the reflector, so it's not that big of a deal. Like, there's still something there.
Yeah.
And we have the front lights, and you can see that shit really well. Like, mine is like really fucking bright.
Oh, yeah, it's so bright, dude.
And so, like, you know, he's like riding up beside us, and I'm just like biking, and I like look over at him because at first I don't really register that there's somebody there like talking to me, and then I'll like notice, and I'm like, oh, like, hey, and he's just like, you really think about like getting those lights on your bike? And I was just like, yeah, we're working on it, man. Actually, we have like a GoFundMe set up. If you want to donate, we'd really appreciate it. Like, just fucking with him. And then he's like, yeah, whatever, and like keeps driving. And I thought of something hella funny the other day, where if he ever did that again, like, you know, ride up and be like, I thought I told you kids, like, get some lights on your bikes. I just want to be like, dude, why would I have a light if I'm blind? And like, just fucking ride that shit, like, and any amount of logic that he tries to kind of convey, just throw that shit away. Just be like, no, dude, I'm blind. I don't. It's like, how do you get home if you're blind? It's like, with a bike, obviously. Fucking idiot. I don't need eyes to pedal. Moron.
God, that was so funny.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he's like a weird guy. Super creepy. I hear other cab drivers like talk shit about him too. Like, I'm not gonna name names or anything, but
is that just like a thing in like the cab driver profession? Like, they all know each other?
Oh yeah,
I'm sure.
Jesus.
Like, everyone knows each other by name. Like, Maddie, our cab driver, like, he talks to us to other...
Our cab driver?
No, he's straight up, like, he's the chillest guy.
Legit gives us his number so we can just, like, text him whenever we needed to ride.
Yeah, when we took cabs, like, regularly, we were, like, starting to take cabs with him more and more often just because he was a super nice guy and, like, really cool, and we would talk about cool shit, and it was just fun. And, he, one night, we were with him, and he was just like, yo, this is my number, like, I will, like, be your driver. Like, you know, you need anything, like, let me know. I will deliver stuff to your house if you want.
Oh, that's dope.
Whatever, you know. Like, obviously we have to pay for it,
yeah.
but, like, you know, he's just providing us, like, A-plus service. You know what I mean? Just, like, top of the line. Like, he's just a cool guy. And, like, he gave us deals and stuff all the time. Like, he'd be like, you know, like, flat rate for everything. Mm-hmm. Like, just cool shit like that. And, like, yeah, I don't know, just genuinely like, good dude.
Yeah,
and so
like,
yeah,
cool.
we would like ride with him all the time just because he was like super nice and also didn't complain about online poker stuff on the internet. That was a big fucking plus for me.
Anyways, Maddie always just talked to us to other cab drivers. So when like Maddie wasn't working, mm-hmm. everyone else would just be like, "Oh, I know you. Maddie talks about you all the time."
Jesus.
Yeah. So
holy
like,
shit.
They all, like, know each other.
You guys fucking won the goddamn cab driver fucking lottery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, yeah, it was pretty nice. Especially because, like, you know, he would really help us out. Like, I remember a few times where, like, I didn't have money to pay for the cab. And I would, like, go up to him and be like, hey, like, I can't afford this cab ride. And he'd be like, dude, just give me next time. Like, just get in the car. Like, pay me back.
Yeah.
No big deal. It was genuinely cool, and I really appreciate it. Like when people do that kind of shit, because it's like, you know, had he not done that, I would have had to like walk home at 2 a.m, 12 miles, on the highway,
Which
in the dark. That would suck. That's not fun. Like,
sounds like a load of fun. What are you talking about?
no, dude.
like
so
takes
shitty.
like 4 hours to do. So he's gonna be walking. He's gonna be at like home around 6, and he's gonna get up in a couple hours so we can get ready to work the next day.
Fuck yeah.
So speaking of bike riding,
Oh yeah. Like I briefly mentioned this to you.
yeah, and I've
How you almost
also-
died.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
All right.
So I want to tell this story from my perspective, real quick,
Okay.
just because, for me, this was not only the funniest thing I've ever seen, but also like the most straight up horrific thing I've ever seen. It was like words cannot describe, but I will try. Basically, what happens is like,
Was this okay? Wait, this was on the shitty fold-up bike, right?
Yes.
Malachi was riding a travel bike, one of those collapsible like garbage, like they're just such trash.
Yeah.
And so
Never get one.
we are going to Silverdale, and so we're like busing to the mall, and so like we get on the bus, and like,
Or are you busting you up bikes?
well, I don't want to have to bike all the way. I also wasn't wearing shoes at
Oh
this
yeah, he was
time.
wearing flip flops. So fuck that.
I was just wearing flip flops because I was buying these shoes, and I didn't want to have to carry shoes on my backpack on my way back.
Okay.
You know, it made sense to me at the time. That's all that matters. But so like, we're fucking getting on the bus. We get off the bus. We have our bikes, and we're like, you know, biking the rest of the way there. It's like a mile or whatever.
Yeah.
We get off at like the junction, and so the junction is right next to the highway that goes like through Silverdale, or kind of a highway. But it's
Oh, yeah.
also right next to it. There's that on ramp where you get on the freeway.
Yeah.
And so what happens is like there's a sidewalk where him and I are just biking along on the sidewalk, and right next to the on ramp there's just a little crosswalk where pedestrians, bikers, anybody that's walking or biking can cross, like literally onto the on ramp and onto the next side where you continue on the highway.
Yeah.
And so, there's no light, there's no stop sign. Obviously, cars can just go. So like you're on the highway, and the off ramp is on the on ramp is right
okay,
there.
hold on.
And you can just turn onto the freeway. And get on.
So the way it's set up is we should probably somewhere in here put in like a map,
like a
of this
sketch,
area.
that'd be so helpful.
not a sketch, but like a just Google Maps screenshot it.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So from my understanding, like where the bus route is, so there's like the bus route kind of like, it would be like, let's say we're looking at a bird's eye view. Bus depot is in the lower right. That freeway entrance, is that just like right next to it?
No, so let me
Kind
describe it
of
real
above?
quick. So you have the highway. Let's just say the highway's going straight for all intents and purposes. Highway's going straight, and to the right of the highway, off to the edge of the sidewalk, there's the bus junction.
Yeah.
It's in a whole other little parking lot.
Is it possible to pull up Google Maps really quick? Because I have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should pull that up really quick.
But so, anyways, we're biking on the fucking sidewalk to like get onto the other edge of the sidewalk, and like, let's see if we can like pull up maps real quick. Well, hold up, I can just zoom in.
Oh yeah. Because like everything's so small.
Yeah, we should definitely put like a map.
Yeah,
here.
just
go to satellite.
screenshot this.
Then I'll screenshot it.
Yeah. We'll put it in later.
Uh,
Yeah, hit satellite really quick.
What the fuck is? Oh.
Just that right there. It'd be a better view.
Okay, so let's see. So this is the junction, right?
yeah. This right here.
This is okay. Are you sure?
Yeah. This is it.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's the bus depot.
So we get off here, and we're just like biking along this road, and then this is the fucking crosswalk, right?
Yeah.
So this is the fucking off ramp right here. And,
Okay,
like,
okay, I get what it is.
So you have to just cross the crosswalk and get onto this sidewalk. Malachi does not fucking look at all. He just is on the sidewalk and just keeps going right onto the crosswalk. Doesn't even stop. Doesn't do shit.
You
he just
fucking
keeps
idiot.
Hold on.
So this is where it gets nuts as hell. There is like a car, obviously, just going onto the on-ramp, and, like...
So it's coming from up here going
yeah,
down.
going at least 55.
So what kind of car was it?
It was like a Ford Focus or something.
Okay, small car.
No, it had a little bit of weight. Enough to absolutely murder him.
Well, yeah, it would, but like I'm thinking, would he like fly up and like come back down and hit the pavement, or would he would
skid across,
get fucking just splattered on the front like a fucking semi truck kind of deal?
I don't really know, but
goo on the grill.
Basically, like, yeah, we should actually screen capture this so they
screen capture, maybe do some drawings in there.
We can
show the path of Malachi and the path of the car.
We'll do that like post edit or whatever.
We can do that post. That's fine.
But so like, basically what happens? He goes off to the sidewalk, is going onto the crosswalk, and just continues to go onto the crosswalk, and the fucking car is barreling down the highway coming into the freeway.
Yeah.
And Malachi notices the car like inches before it. I'm talking literally like, you know, had he been like 2 inches ahead, he would have been absolutely dead.
Nice.
Like this car, and like brakes hella hard, the back tire comes up, and like the car like barely swerves out of the way, because like, I mean, what is it gonna do? It just doesn't have the space to be able to like swerve out of the way, and it can't stop in time.
Yeah, because it's one lane. Well, you could try and stop and like...
No, there was like... everything happened so fast, like, nobody had any idea what... Like, I didn't even see it until it was literally happening. I didn't even have time to say anything. Like, shit just happened so fast. And so, like, literally what happened was, like, he hits his brakes, he stops, the back tire flies up, the car swerves, and then it's just, like, it's over. And, like, nothing happens. But, like, I don't know, that shit was so insane. The car came... like, just fucking inches. Like, I mean, had it been over to the right, like, literally half a foot, it would have made absolute contact with him, like, smeared him across the road. Like, he would have been Ragu.
Jesus.
Like,
fucking Ragu.
It was fucking crazy, like, watching that shit go down. And then we just, like, laughed about it for, like, a really long time, which I feel like it was just kind of shock. Like,
yeah, it was like shock therapy type of thing.
We really didn't know how to react to it, because, like...
Shock therapy?
That's comma. That's
not what you mean.
Yeah, comma. It was like...
Fucking shock/therapy.
Yeah. Maybe you did get hit by the car.
I should adjust it, the car, like...
Yeah, it was insane. I've never seen something like that. That was like one of those like near-death compilations on YouTube. It was literally like that. It was fucking nuts, like watching that shit go down.
Yeah, so for me, like, it was really funny because all the way up the thing, I was just like, make sure you stop. Because, like, it's not the first time I've done something like that.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God.
I've never been, like, even close to being hit. But it's just, like, not the first time.
So what you're telling me is you have to remind yourself to stop and look both ways in crosswalk.
It was, okay, honestly, like...
Oh my God.
I don't know, Malachi, like, you straight up are one of the smartest people I know, but also one of the most fucking... Just such, like, you're so dumb. Like,
I know.
You're like the dumbest person I've ever
I know.
Like, you do shit that's, like, super smart, and then you do that. Like, you literally almost get smeared across the highway because you didn't stop and, like, look both ways. Shit is so fucking hilarious. Like, it's not funny because it's, like, you literally almost died. And I was trying to describe this to Caleb last night. Like, we went to the store last night, and I was talking to him, and I was like, Malachi almost died. And he was like, oh, really? And I was like, and not in, like, a, oh, dude.
Just like, oh, really? Like,
well, because, you know, when people say that, and it's like, uh-huh. It's like, sure. Like, you almost died.
It's an
I'm
exaggeration.
talking, like, literally almost fucking died. Like, I'm not saying, like, oh, like, you know, how the stars aligned and, like, everything was perfect, this guy would have been dead. No, like, if he would have been 2 inches to the left, the guy would have been fucking ripped in half by a 60-mile-an-hour piece of metal. You know, it's like, there's no way there's no way he would have lived. Like, that shit would have, like, ripped him in half. Like, there's no coming out of that. Like, a car crash like that, especially when you're on a bike, there's just nothing that you could have done. Getting T-boned by a car at 60 miles an hour, you're fucking dead. Like, there's just no way
When you were talking to Caleb about it, what did he say?
He was just like, oh, it was kind of the same. I feel like he didn't really
I think
get it, you know? Like, because it's hard to describe that to somebody and have them be like, oh, yeah, totally. Like, sounds rough, or what, you know? Because it's just, you had to be there.
Sounds rough.
Yeah, it just doesn't sound as intense as it was. There's no way I could describe it and give it, like, do it justice. Like, give it the proper description.
I would have to say props to the guy that was
Gonna
driving.
animate it.
Yeah, whoever drove was, like
it was pretty smart.
totally
because, most
calm.
people would have just been, like, slammed on the brakes and, like, swerved a bit so they
made
didn't
it
hit them.
worse.
But this guy just literally went a little to the left.
He Vin Diesel'd the fuck out of that whole interaction.
Yeah.
Like, he just, like just back, like, swerve off, swerve in. Like, it was pretty legit.
So, like...
Turns out it was Vin Diesel.
Had it been a worse driver, like, Malachi would be super dead, I feel like. Or just they would have been super dead.
Yeah.
But
I don't think the driver would have been dead.
no, I think the driver would have died. I think you would have been fine in the driver. Because, like, so, for example, there was this one time when...
Fucking swerves over, flips the car.
Well, no, that's... Okay, so what happened this one time was, like, I was driving... It was when...
You were driving.
Yeah, it was when I still lived with mom and dad, and I bought my first car, my Supra.
Yeah.
I was hanging out with Connor before he enlisted. Or no, he had just got back from boot camp. He was about to get deployed, and we were hanging out. We were just, you know, hanging out the whole day. He was getting deployed, like, the next day, so we were like, let's just chill the whole day. And so we did, and I'm driving him home super late. It's, like, probably 2 in the morning or something like that. And we're going pretty fast. Like, you know, we're just kind of, like, having fun. And, like, I had just gotten this car, like, a few weeks earlier. So, like, I was still, like, having a ton of fun with it and just driving it really fast all over the place and just having a good time with it. And, like, we're going down, like, Port Gamble Road, which is pretty dark. You know, it's pretty straight, too. And there's really, like, no twists and turns or anything like that. So we just, like, laid on the gas. And we're going, like, 80 miles an hour down this road. A fucking homeless man, literally, like, we kind of turned this, like, slight corner. This homeless dude is, like, in the middle of the road. And, like, he's just literally walking, and he, like, sees the headlights. He looks directly at our headlights and walks toward him. And, like, I see this shit, and I'll, like, swerve over to the right. And, like, there's just enough shoulder for me to, like, you know, get over onto, like, the shoulder and then, like, come back onto the road right after we, like, pass him. Because if we stayed on the road, we would have hit him. And, like, in a small car like that, like, who knows what's going to happen.
He's on the line?
On the center line.
The center line.
And then he starts walking towards us. Like, he's clearly, like, fucking lost mentally. Like, I don't know what was going on. No, he was, like, cracked out.
Tripping the fuck out.
Yeah, he was fucked. And I was thinking about that. That kind of made me think about shit, and it's like, I guess so, I don't know. Had that shoulder not been there, or, like, had that been, like, a smaller shoulder, like, I would have flown off the road and then gone off the embankment and wrapped around a tree. Because there's, like, that hill on the side, and it just goes down to that beach. So it's like, you know, had that shoulder not been there, or had I, like, lost control a little bit or swerved too hard, like, I would have been super dead. But it's like, maybe if I hit that guy, like, I also might have been dead, but I would have had a way higher chance of living. And it's like, I think that's literally what the dude driving the car that almost hit Malachi was thinking. Like, if I swerve too hard, I'm going to kill myself. And, like, fuck this guy, you know? Like, I mean, he's the one that's making the mistake,
like,
and I don't want to die. So, like, I'm just going to swerve a little bit, not endanger myself. And if this guy gets hit, he gets hit. You know, that's just how it is.
Sounds like...
And I was thinking about that, and when that happened, I was like, that's probably exactly what was going through this guy's head. Like, I can only do so much, and, like, I'm not going to kill myself because this guy made a mistake. I think that's what was happening. Because, like, why? Honestly, I mean, you know, put yourself in, like, that guy's shoes. There's a dude in the middle of the intersection. You cannot brake in time. And he's there. Are you going to kill yourself to save him? I mean, you know, he's
like,
the one that's making
he's
the
probably
mistake.
going to do it again.
Yeah, you don't... Well, I mean, that's dark. That shouldn't be there. Just take this guy out. He's gonna make this mistake twice, doing everyone a favor. You like make it your mission. You're like, your karma. I'm the embodiment of justice. Start ramming into all the bikers so they don't make the same mistake. You're like, you start getting really like bureaucratic with it. You're like, every biker that I see could possibly make this mistake, so I'm just gonna run them all off the road.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, dude, that's what I was thinking. I was like, this guy's probably just trying to like save his own ass, and who can blame him? I mean, in a situation like that.
Yeah,
like,
because like I mean, it was like 100% my fault. Like,
oh yeah,
without a doubt.
Like, yeah,
I knew that right after the thing. I was just like, God,
without a doubt.
Like, I feel so bad because if we hit, that would have been all on me.
Well, technically, you would have been all over the car.
God damn it.
So.
And the pavement.
Yeah.
Been Ragu.
Fucking road jelly. Fucking Malachi Carpaccio. Just sliced up all over the place, man.
Oh, God.
Fucking all you can eat buffet.
Anyways, back to my perspective. So, like, the entire way up, for me, it's like just doing stuff like that. I have to do it. Like, I'm like, gotta do this. Make sure you remember this. But the moment it comes when I'm supposed to do that said thing, I completely forget it. I don't know why. It's like a huge problem with me. So that's what happens when we get to the intersection or the crosswalk, I guess. And so I'm just like, I turn. I'm just like la-di-da, and then all of a sudden I just see out of the corner of my blue. I'm like, that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah, that's what I saw too. I was just like, see Malachi in the section or in the intersection, and then like out of the corner of my eye, there's just like this blur of like blue, and I'm like, oh fuck. I like how you described it after that happened. You were just like, yeah, I just remember like being in the intersection, and I was like, hey, that's not supposed to be there.
Yeah. Damn.
Because that's what it's, dude. That's like,
that's exactly what it was for me. I'm just like, oh, that's not something that's normal.
While we're on the subject, I think we should like talk about like near-death experiences. I've only ever had like the one, not like the homeless thing. I don't like where that guy almost hit the homeless guy. That doesn't really count because I don't feel like that could have been a near life or death experience or anything, or a near-death experience. But like, there's this one time I told Malachi about this yesterday when it happened, or when your car thing when you almost died yesterday. But like, this was like 2 years ago when I bought my second Supra. I've owned two. The second one that I bought, it was like kind of a piece of shit. I mean, like, that's an understatement. It was a total piece of garbage. And like, I drove it a little too rough, like a little too fast, and like just was way rougher on it than I should have been. But I mean, also the fact that it was just like hot garbage didn't help. And so this was one time where I'm like driving down the highway, like 104. I'm like going to Kingston or whatever. I'm like picking up David, and there's this, Barber Cutoff. It's like a slight turn,
yeah,
but it is like a definite turn. It's like a 45-degree angle off of the highway, and it just turns into like another big ass road. And so I'm driving down that road, making that right turn, like going off on there, and like I just take it a little too fast. Like, I make the turn at like 45 miles an hour, and so I don't have enough traction. There's not enough like control on the tires, because the thing had like skinny as fuck tires. And so when I turn, the car immediately drifts, and I'm going way too fast to correct it at all. There's just not enough road for me to like be able to correct the turn at all, or to be able to like come out of the drift smoothly. And so I slide like just 100% off the road, and I crash into like the ditch basically. And like the car is fine except for a few things. What happened was I slide off the road, crash into the ditch, and I hit a school crossing sign or something like that, like a school zone sign.
This was the second Supra, the blue one, right?
Yeah, the blue one.
Where the engine blew up later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, same car.
Same car.
And so I hit the sign, and the sign breaks like clean in half. And the top part of the sign stabs through the left window and like into the back of the car, like 100%. It like makes it makes contact. It makes a dent. It like dents the back. And then I had an exhaust header in the back from, I don't remember what it was from. I think when I bought the car, the guy had like given me it. He was like, yeah, this is just like an extra header that I had for the car. You can just have it. And so it's this big just piece of like twisted metal, basically. Yeah. That's all it is. And so that flies forward and just absolutely obliterates the passenger seat. Like, it smashes it forward, and the seat breaks, like, part of, like, the mechanism that, like, makes the seat move backwards, breaks and smashes into the dash.
David
wasn't with me. I was going to pick him up.
You were going to pick him up.
I was alone when this happens. And so all this stuff, it was like a perfect storm. All this, like, the header flies forward, the sign in the back crashes through, like, the back seat. And then I'm just sitting there, and I'm, like, looking around, and I'm like, oh, my God, like, that was so close. Like, I was, like, so freaked out. Because, you know, had that sign been, like, 2 feet forward, had the header been on the left side instead of the right, like, I would have been impaled by this fucking sign, and then the header would have, like, sent my skull into the steering wheel at 50 miles an hour. Because, like, the exhaust header, like, flew forward. I'm talking like a rail gun. The thing, like, just flew into the seat. It was crazy.
I feel like it would have broken your spine before.
Maybe. Like, the seat might have cushioned it enough at 50 miles an hour. I'm not sure what had happened. But, like, had the header not either A, broken my spine or sent my skull flying into the dashboard or the steering wheel, that sign would have, like, impaled, like, just...
Did the airbags deploy?
I didn't have airbags in the car.
Oh my god.
The car doesn't have airbags. It was before, like, airbags were, like, even a thing, I believe. I don't even know when airbags were, like, invented, but my car, stock, never had airbags from the factory.
That's stupid.
Yeah. Well, airbags, I mean, they don't really do a lot.
They stop your skull from going into the fucking steering wheel.
Yeah, but I mean, like, so does, like, I'm always, so, like, I don't know. When it comes to cars and stuff like that, I'm always like, you know, if it's good enough for NASCAR, it's good enough for me. And, like, I'd feel way safer having, like, a 5-point harness than an airbag.
But that's the thing, that's the trade-off. Instead of having a 5-part harness and a roll cage and fucking netting and all that stuff.
That's not protective. It's just there.
Yeah,
it's just there for glass, I guess. If glass breaks, it catches it.
Well, it's also an extra layer of protection, I would think, because, like, instead of slamming into the roll cage itself, you're slamming into the netting.
A mesh net is going to do it 200 miles an hour. That's not going to fucking
Depends how
protect
tall
you from
it
anything.
is.
If you crash any car at 200 miles an hour, you're dead. I mean, like, it doesn't matter if you have a fucking sick-as-hell roll cage and whatever. You could be the Michelin Man made of tires, and you would still, like, be ripped in half.
It's not made of tires. Whatever. I don't know what he's made of.
I mean, like, chances are you're going to be fucked, you know? Like, there's just only so much, like, safety you can have before, like, the dangerous tasks that you're doing get out, like, overshadowed, you know?
So, maybe you'll remember a different one, but the only near-death experience I can remember is the firework thing.
The what?
When we were launching fireworks on the beach that one time, and, like, I lit a mortar and it didn't rocket up.
That's not really a near-death experience.
I'm not sure how...
It might have blown your thumbs off.
Might have blown my face off.
Yeah, maybe.
That's the thing, I can't gauge that one as much.
I don't know how, like, that's not... I wouldn't say that's, like, near-death.
Yeah, because it wasn't, like...
I don't even know if mine was technically, like, a near-death. I mean, it definitely felt like it. And then analyzing the situation afterwards, I was like, wow, I'm pretty lucky to be alive. Like, this is kind of scary. Like, I don't know, it just felt like it was one of those things where it's like, yeah, sick. Like, I'm not dead.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember many near-death experiences.
Yeah, I'm
a pretty safe childhood.
Grateful that I actually have to think about having a near-death experience. I'm not one of those people that had the misfortune of, like, growing up in a really rough place where, like, death was right around the corner. Like, I think about that all the time. Like, could you imagine, like, growing up in, like, parts of the Sudan or something like that where you're like death is just everywhere. Like, and no matter what.
You'll decide, like, oh, just another day.
There's animals and, like, diseases and militia and
so just being
all
alive
kinds,
is a
just
near
the
death
environment,
experience.
just everything is like a near, like, you take your life in your hands, like, waking up, like, every day is just like a fucking, like, you have to grip tighter on life, otherwise, like, you'll
be gone.
Kick it. Yeah, pretty fortunate. Like,
I mean, this isn't really a near-death experience, but, like, that just reminded me of the time when we were hanging out with my dad, and he was talking to us about Nigel jumping out of that tree.
Oh, yeah, and, like, breaking both of his arms.
No, he broke his fucking feet.
Oh, he broke his legs.
His feet or his legs?
Doesn't matter.
I'm pretty sure it was his feet.
Yeah, I broke my foot once.
Jumped out of a tree and broke both of his feet.
Yeah, how your dad was telling the story was basically like, you know, Nigel didn't give a shit about, like, he was like probably one of those, you know, like when you watch like a movie, like a war movie, or like in a video game. Is a good example. Like when fucking, you know, in Black Ops, when like Alex Mason is being like tortured to death basically, and they're just like shocking him and like beating the shit out of him and like strapping him down and like chemically like fucking him and all that, and he's just like sitting there like, nah, fuck you guys. That's basically like how he was telling the story about Nigel. He was just like, because he's like, Nigel wouldn't give a fuck, like you could like beat this kid up and like he would that sounds dark. Yeah. He's just like, I could just beat my kid all day and like he wouldn't say shit. No, but like,
holy shit,
he fell out of a tree.
My
or
dad
something
would never
like
do
that.
something like that.
No,
he would never even say something like that.
Yeah, how I worded that was definitely not the way.
He'd beat the shit out of my kid.
I could just beat my kid all day and he wouldn't say anything. It's so fly. But like, no, he was talking about how Nigel like broke both of his feet falling out of a tree, and then he was just like telling everybody that he was
No. He didn't fall out of the tree.
He jumped.
He
was pushed.
He didn't fall. He was pushed.
It's a Toy Story situation.
All right. So, I can't remember how old he was. He was really fucking
Dad
young.
said he was like 6 or like 8 or
yeah,
like
I think he was
hell.
8. I think he was 8.
And breaks both of his feet.
So my other brother, Søren, he was the one that he was with and whatnot. It's like, back then it was just a complete piece of shit. He would just like make people do the dumbest things because he thought it would be funny. So my dad theorizes what happened was Søren was just like, hey Nigel, bet you won't climb as high as you can and then jump out of the tree. That's how he predicts that.
That's how you get people to fucking kill themselves.
What's funny too, a good thing to mention is that allegedly this kid did not speak his first word until he was 6.
Oh yeah, Søren didn't say a single word till he was 6.
So picture this. You know,
this sounds like a fucking sociopath.
You're encouraging this child who has not spoken a word. It basically has only been talking for 2 years. You encourage this kid to like jump out of a fucking tree.
No. Nigel has talked since he was like 4 or something.
Nigel jumped out of the tree.
Søren's
the guy.
Søren was the one that was quiet till he was 6.
Oh,
yeah.
I thought it was the same kid.
No.
I was like, I thought it was the same person. I was like, man, that is...
You're confusing the audience, Carter.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. I'm gonna take a seat on this
Søren
conversation.
didn't talk till he was 6. Nigel was the one that jumped out of the tree.
Okay.
Anyways.
Continue.
So, Søren would have been like 10 at this point if Nigel was 8.
Okay.
Oh no, he would have been 11. Nigel's 3 years younger than me.
But he like convinces him to jump out of the tree.
Yeah, so Søren's just like, bet you won't jump out of the tree. Nigel's just like, yeah, I will. He's like, no, you won't. And
he's like, I'll show this pussy ass bitch. I'll jump.
Basically, and he jumps out of the tree, and like, Søren calls, I think it was my stepmom, and it was just like, Nigel's hurt. You should probably come get him. And like, Jessica was just like, all right, give me the phone, or give Nigel the phone so I can talk to him. And Jessica was just like, so how you feeling? Are you doing all right? Nigel was just like, I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine.
I'm fine. I'm fine.
And I was like,
I'm fine.
Are you sure? I don't think you're fine.
Blood is like pouring out of his ears. I'm fine.
I'm fine.
Leave me alone.
And so, Jessica was like, I think I'm gonna just come get you. And so she goes and gets him, and they get home. And like, Jessica gets him from the ferry. And like, he's limping really badly.
Oh my god.
And Jessica's like, I think I should
visibly in pain.
I think I should take you to the hospital. It was like,
he's
no,
clearly injured.
No, I'm fine. And he's like, no need, I'm fine. And then they get home.
This kid's 8. He's 8 years old. 8
then
years
they get
old.
home.
Like, goddamn.
Fucking, they're taking off their shoes. Like, Nigel's obviously in extreme pain. And
Stubborn
Jessica
as fuck.
just looks at his feet, and they're just all black. Just full on.
Goddamn. Fucking necrosis feet.
It's to the point of, like, amputation.
Holy shit.
So they go to the hospital, like, Jessica's like, I'm taking you to the hospital. It's like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Oh my god.
This fucking kid.
That actually reminds me of, I was watching...
Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you better be. To this fucking day,
Well, shit.
he still denies the fact that he jumped out of the tree. And he always says that he fell.
Dude, I fell.
Yeah.
How is that
Okay,
any better?
yeah, how's that better? Like,
Like-
you fell out of the tree, so you fucked up. But if you like jumped out of the tree, like you might have fallen for like your brother's fucking bullshit antics. But like, at least you jumped out of a goddamn tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a baller!
But to this fucking day, he denies it and will not.
But so here's the thing, because like, anytime somebody mentions like, oh dude, you should climb that as high as you can and jump off, I always think about this one girl that I knew from venturing, because we went over to like her and her family's house before, where like she climbed a tree one of the days, and she like literally climbed to the fucking top of the tree.
We used to do that in high school. Like, me
Like-
and Connor.
To the very top
Yeah.
of a pine tree.
Yeah.
I'm talking pine, fucking Douglas fir,
Yeah.
high as shit.
No, that's... So, I don't even know if anybody ever listens to this podcast, which I'm fucking doubting it will ever happen. But on the off chance that, like, you know, we get a following somewhere in, like, Arizona or whatever, this is what people in Washington do for fun. Like, especially during, like, the winter months, there's just not much to do. So, like, I remember being in high school, and a lot of the times what we would do is just climb shit until we couldn't climb any higher, and that was it. Like, I had a bunch of friends in high school that would do that. Do you remember tree slothing, that game that Connor and I came up with?
What?
Yeah, but those weren't big trees. That's the thing.
But that's just an example of, like, stupid shit that people do when they're in nature. Tree slothing was this game that we made where it's like...
You would jump from tree to tree and figure out how far you could get without touching the ground.
No.
I thought that was what it was.
Tree slothing is where you jump from a tree onto another tree, and the purpose is to try to break the tree that you jump onto.
That's right.
You jump from a high... it doesn't even have to be a tree. It could be a high platform, and land on something that you think you can physically break with your momentum. And then that's it.
You guys are fucking retarded.
There's another game
Dude, it was
that we made.
100% momentum and sheer force of will.
Yeah, and you get a point every time you break a tree, and that was the whole game. There was another game we made that there was no point system. There's no way to win. Winning was just surviving, basically. And it's where you just jump from a high place onto, like, a patch of bush.
Well, so
And you try not to bust your shit up.
but
That's basically the
that's
whole
what
game.
I'm talking about. Is like these trees that you're doing them with were like pretty small.
But then we would just climb trees. We would sometimes just, like, climb cedar trees or whatever.
Like fucking
Like, just scale a tree.
100 feet.
Sure. Or 80 feet, probably.
80 feet?
Or whatever. I don't know how tall a tree
high,
is.
yeah.
But yeah, we would... I remember
How tall
one
are
time-
trees?
Fuck if I know. We would just climb to the top, and I remember one time doing that in the that huge forest next to our parents' place, climbing up there and, like, seeing the top of, like, the
Wait, in
forest
Gamblewood?
line. No, in, like, the Pope and Talbot, like, trails.
Oh, those, yeah.
Yeah, just climbing up that and, like, getting onto, like, the tallest tree and
Fucking
just, like, looking and seeing the tree line. That shit
Bilbo
was...
Baggins from The Hobbit.
Yeah, literally like that
kind
where you
of
could
shit.
just see everything. That was a pretty cool experience. Although it's really scary.
Did butterflies fly around you? Did you see the Lonely Mountain? That's Mount St. Helens, by the way.
A volcano. But, like...
Yeah, dude, fun fact, Mount St. Helens isn't actually a volcano. There's just a dragon in there.
I was, when I was on top of the trees, I couldn't see anything, so it was like a really windy, cloudy day. And all I remember was thinking, like, this tree is going to fall down. Because, like, we were shaking, like, feet back and forth. Like, it was, like, the distance, like, that we traveled with the swaying of the
Yeah, because it's going to be, like, really...
It's, like, 3 feet of travel.
Yeah.
So you think that, like, you're just going to fall off. It is, like, the most surreal, like, scary experience because you don't understand, like, how the motion works. And you're like, wow, at any moment, like this, it just feels like it's not gonna break, but it feels like it could break.
It could snap somewhere where you're holding on. That's...
Totally could.
Yeah.
It didn't, but I mean, it totally could.
It didn't.
You guys are doing this when you were kids. Back when I was
I was doing this when I was a kid.
Yeah, Mason was
I
always
was a
like...
pussy.
Yeah, Mason was always like, you're an idiot! Like, when I do shit like that, like, he was always like...
I mean...
Yeah, just doing dumb
I mean,
shit
like
that.
I lived in a neighborhood that had gunfire every night, so, like...
Oh, wait, yeah, you lived in Seattle.
Yeah. For a long period of time. But, like, the things that I would do was just, like, go... There's this park right next to my house that had a basketball court.
Dude, we'd go there and count the used needles.
And...
We would go there and collect syringes. That sounds like Gamble would do.
Dude, we do fire walks on fucking syringes.
So the gunfire thing was just, like, that's the scariest thing that, like, I've done.
Just hearing gunshots.
Like, and it's not even that scary. It's just, like, whatever.
I don't know, that's pretty scary.
I think I was just so used to it at that
One time,
point.
there was this... I'm sorry.
Hold on.
I keep doing that.
So, like...
I always think you're done with what you're saying.
Yeah, I know. I always just stop to think.
Yeah.
But,
so, you went to the park.
So we would go to the park. I was like nothing dangerous. It was just, like, we would play basketball. And, like, we would go to tell 10 points. But hold on. The way we had it set up, it was between Sir and I. It was just us two playing the basketball game.
Nigel was too busy falling out of trees and breaking his feet.
Breaking his feet.
Play basketball with you guys.
Fucking...
Eating
anyways,
fire.
Like, we would play basketball and whatnot, and it was just, like, us playing to 10 points. But the way we would play to make it more challenging, because we both just suck at basketball back then. Well, I still suck at basketball now. And, what is it? The way we would play was just, like, we would make a point, and if the other person made that point, your point would be negated, and you would be back at 0.
Wow, that is like the most defeatist basketball game ever.
So, like, you basically have to dominate the fuck out of the other guy.
Jesus.
Basically T-posing the game.
Yeah, that sounds fucking rough.
Wait, so every time you made a point...
So, if I were to make
a point away.
Yeah, so if I were to make a point, I would have 1 point. But then if CERN were to make a point, I would have 0 points. We would both have 0 points.
God, the game could go on forever.
Yeah, that's not how you want to play.
You basically have to play with somebody that sucks. Because if you're, like, evenly matched, no one will ever win.
What was the game that, like, Justin and Jeremy showed us?
But the reason why we did this was because we would typically be at that park for 4 hours. And it's a park we've been to every day of our lives. So we were just bored as shit every single time we went there. So Sir and I were just like, all right, let's figure something out to do. So we just came up with that because it would just take so long. And we never beat each other. Like, not once. The closest we got to the 10 points was 6.
Jesus. Man,
more than halfway there. No, okay, so there's that basketball game that you could play that's like, so you all stand in line.
Oh, like pig, horse.
No.
Is it bump with the two balls?
Nope.
Oh,
somebody makes a
That's
shot,
a great game.
and if it doesn't go in, the next person has to grab it before it hits the ground, and they have to try and make it in.
Yeah, what is
with
that?
Like jump. It's called jump. That's what it is.
You can't be touching the ground.
You can't be touching the ground, and basically the ball can't touch the ground after the first shot.
Yeah.
And
man, that game
you can't
is fun
touch the
as
ground.
Fuck.
So you have to jump up, grab the ball in midair, and shoot it before you hit the ground.
Oh, fuck that.
If you have the ball in your hands, you can't touch the ground.
Yeah.
That's the whole game.
Unless it's the first shot.
Oh no! Wait, the ball can touch the ground. That's right.
The ball can touch the ground. You just
I
can't
remember.
touch the ground and the ball at the
like
same
letting
time.
it bounce and then like jumping up and like scooping it.
Yeah, dude, that game, especially if you play with people that are actually like good. Like I remember playing it in high school with people that just sucked.
Because
and, it was just not fun because it was just people throwing the ball all over the place. But if you play with people that are actually like good at basketball, the game is super competitive and like really fun.
Especially when it actually gets going and like the ball starts moving
Dude,
with a lot of momentum.
There's just
like,
this like
there is
perpetual like motion happening throughout like the whole game. It's so
nobody's
so
good at that
cool.
point. It's just kind of a shit show.
I think it's really it's.
Okay, how did the scoring work? Because I cannot remember the scoring.
If you shoot it in, you get a point. I think that's it. I think it's literally just like an individual thing.
And if you're touching the ground when you shoot it in, it doesn't count?
Yeah, it's not. You don't get the point.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
Yeah.
I think I remember there was a penalty too if you like. No, maybe there wasn't.
I can't remember.
It's very rare for those games to get penalties like that.
Dude, I totally forgot about this, but I wanted to bring this up real quick because I thought it was funny as fuck. When you were just talking about like living in Seattle and hearing gunfire all the time, so I'm not gonna name names or anything like that.
Wait, what part of Seattle did you live in?
Beacon Hill. It's like right next to Rainier Beach.
Okay.
Never go to Rainier Beach, by the way.
I figured.
It's just like a horrible place.
Sounds horrible.
Most of Seattle just sucks, honestly. It's just not.
Well, except for like
downtown. Is
U District is okay.
U District's alright. It's too. I don't know. It takes too long to get there though, so I don't like going there. It's
the fucking place that we went to for the what is that place? It was the first place you, me, and Dad went to. With,
where
that
like,
area was pretty cool.
Yeah,
that
where like the Space
park.
Needle is. That park where the Space Needle is. That's
Isn't that
tight.
just downtown.
Well,
that's the downtown.
It's
on
part of downtown.
It's like near Queen Anne.
Yeah, I would say like the
the
downtown and waterfront areas and like.
Dude, Queen Anne is so nice.
And
now.
Yeah.
Capitol Hill and like not Capitol Hill.
Capitol Hill.
Yeah, Capitol Hill.
Trashy.
Well, Capitol Hill has like Bak and Mighty O.
Yeah, but it's still trashy.
It's trashy, but it's like
it. It's dirty.
It's
man.
kind of like there's some
people.
stuff there to do.
There's some stuff everywhere, but it's like I don't know, this is a gross city, dude. It's just nasty, and like people talk about it like it's the dopest city on the planet.
Yeah, no, I'd rather be here than Seattle.
I would so rather be anywhere in Washington than Seattle. Seattle is just so gross to me.
Wait, how do people say it's the dopest city in...
Everybody that lives there, dude, they're like, Seattle's the best. There's like so much
my
to
dad,
do.
my sister.
It's like there's not a lot to do. People always say like, oh, there's so much to do in Seattle. It's like if you drink, yeah. If you love to go to bars,
like if you
sure.
work so much, you don't have time to do anything. So like when you do have time to do something,
it's like the smallest thing is entertaining.
Yeah, because like my sister works 6 days a week.
Seattle is like such a yuppie city.
She literally does nothing but work, dude.
Yeah. But she loves it there.
Okay.
Which is cool. Okay, hold up. Before, I say, I'm not like trash talking the people that live in Seattle, because like some of the people that live in Seattle are like the hardest working people that I've ever met. But I just think that the city sucks. That's all. Like,
yeah, it's cool if you like it, but like,
yeah, it's like the city I think is just gross, and like there's just so many problems, and I think that it's such a yuppie place. Like, I feel like it used to be a lot cooler, and like maybe back in the day, I mean, when Mom and Dad talk about like the 90s in Seattle, since like they lived there forever.
Yeah.
And like Mom grew up in Seattle basically. Like she lived there for a long time, and she would always say stuff about how like back in the day, Seattle was like a very weird place. Like there was just weird stuff.
It's still a weird place.
Not really. It's all yuppie now. It's like downtown is pretty weird. But like if you go like Capitol Hill is like becoming this weird like industrial like business oriented place. It's not like a artistic type place. She would always say like back in the day, like,
well, that's because
you could go anywhere and it would
Pike
would be like
seems to be more of the artistic kind of area.
It's the weird like free like hippie place, but now everything's like yuppie. It's like it's weird. I don't like it.
But like once you get to like Queen Anne, like we walked around Queen Anne for a bit, like not too far because we were just going to Dick's there because that's where my sister works. Like it was pretty alright, like better than most of the area that you've seen, and like the I keep wanting to call it the convention center. Is that what it?
No, convention center's on Pike.
That's the place where it's
the convention center is.
That's on Pike.
There's a couple convention centers.
Well, the Washington Convention, the big ass fucking convention center.
Yeah.
You're thinking of like the Mopop. And,
like that entire
the
area.
Space Needle, like that whole area.
Oh.
Just close that so I don't have to hear a fucking car alarm.
Yeah.
Oh god, now it's
But,
gonna
like-
get like a sauna in here.
What I was gonna say though,
No.
way back before this, was that
Hold on.
speaking
Open
of
that again. I'm just gonna check to see that's not
It's not
mine.
yours.
no, your car's right there.
We can
homie.
see it. It's not yours.
Oh, that's right. I did park here.
That's just some idiot's car, like just going off.
Somewhere over there.
Yeah, somewhere off in the distance.
Hot.
Yeah.
But like,
Sauna time.
oh, stopped, thank God. There was this kid that I knew in high school one time that was at the park and he found a fucking gun.
What the fuck?
Instead of bringing it, I don't want to name names.
Can you write it down?
Fuck no.
First name?
I'll tell you later.
First
No,
name. Yeah, just tell us
I'll
later.
tell you later.
Alright,
Chill
fine.
out. I'm not gonna say his name on here because like, that's not cool. He found a gun, and instead of turning it in, he just like kept it. And then like eventually, people were like, the cops were like looking for the gun, and then he was like, he talked to his mom about it and was like, you know, Mom, like, you know how like, you know, people have been like looking for this like gun or whatever, and she'd be like, yeah, and he was like, I have it. I don't like.
I have it.
I actually own it now. And yeah, like, he got in trouble with that shit. I don't really remember what happened, but I remember he, like, talked to the cops, and the cops were just like, so why do you have this gun? Like, they were hella curious about it. And he was like, I don't know, I just found it, and I liked it. I wanted to keep it. And I'm like, what a great response. This gun might have been linked to a murder, but he was just like, fuck it. Like, I want it. Like, that's a cool-looking gun. Like, I'm gonna keep that shit. That just reminded me of, like, what you were talking about, like, finding syringes and shit like that in Seattle. Just, like...
Yeah.
Could you imagine, like, you're playing basketball on the court, and then all of a sudden you just find a gun, and you're like, fuck yeah! Like, finally, all these years of playing dumb basketball has paid off. Found a gun.
Jesus Christ.
But anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. But yeah, Seattle's dirty. It sucks.
Yeah, most definitely.
I hate it. It's
Like,
so
I would
gross.
never... Like, before, I would want to live in there, but, like, now that I live on my own, and, like, realize how actually nice this place is, like, I can actually see the stars in the sky, which is, like, totally fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Or, like, go on late night bike rides without worrying too much about being hit if I'm not being dumb.
Yeah, I was
Well,
gonna say, you always have to worry about
so
being hit 'cause you have no
here's the
idea
thing,
what's
is,
happening
like-
around you ever.
Yeah. I don't know why. It's so
Every
dumb.
time you say, like, tell somebody who's not from Washington, or at least, like, around the area, and, like, can easily get to Washington, every time you tell them about Washington, like, the
They
areas around
immediately
it,
think of Seattle.
yeah, like, it's
Yeah.
always gonna be Seattle. Like,
Because
nobody
that's
ever
like the
thinks
most
of, like...
famous place in Washington.
But here's the thing. Is Seattle seems to outshine Washington so much. I was listening to, like, this radio broadcast kind of, like, thing where they were
A
talking...
radio broadcast.
Radio broadcast!
Well,
so,
golly.
So somebody on the radio was talking about, like, they were talking about, like, some famous fucking travel whatever magazine thing, or somebody that wrote for, like, a travel magazine, and they were, like, talking about Spokane, and how it's the second biggest city in Washington, and how nobody's ever actually heard of it, apparently.
Really?
Yeah, like, whoever was writing this article about Washington was like, Spokane, never heard of it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, not surprised.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
Like,
and
most
it's
people,
it's basically the Seattle of Eastern Washington.
people who live in Seattle don't know where Paulsbo is.
Fucking
Well,
great.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me because this is a small ass town. I mean, not really. It's got like
Like,
10,000
they know where
people.
Bainbridge is, they know where Bremerton is, but they have never heard of Kingston nor Paulsbo.
Here's the way I would like
Kingston's
to
like a
describe it.
major hub, though, for just, like, getting from...
Not really.
Yeah, like,
It goes-
just ferries.
It goes to one place.
It goes to
It's the
Edmonds.
exact same
but
as
And
it's,
Edmonds is like another small town. That's not.
well, no, because Bainbridge I would consider, like, walk-on. If you're gonna do,
No,
like...
tons of people drive on the Bainbridge Ferry. Tons of,
Yeah,
way
it-
more than Kingston.
Unless you're
Way
getting
more.
later in the night, it's like
Trust
the
me, dude,
entire
I take
thing's
this
packed.
boat every day. Like, there tons of people drive.
Yeah, but tons of people also take the Kingston ferry to get to Edmonds. That's the thing, and that's
To get
mainly,
to
Yeah,
Seattle.
but that's mainly what I'm saying.
The
is-
people that go to Edmonds go to Seattle. Like, that's why
It's
they're
just like
traveling.
a
It's just
closer ferry.
closer.
All right, whatever.
But like, oh, by the way, they're making a sometime this year. There's going to be a fast travel boat from
Kingston to
Seattle. It's gonna be walk-ons only.
They've done that so many times.
No, they tried.
They tried once. Nobody ever really went.
No,
for
it's like happening now. There's like they made a boat for it and everything. It's like a brand new boat. I was just reading an article about it last night. Yeah, like
reading an article about it when nobody ever hears about Kingston.
Well, because it's like local news.
I know it's local news. Yeah.
Idiot.
God.
You can't write about Kingston. Nobody's ever heard of it.
I don't remember what I was gonna say something about.
It's a walk-on boat.
No, it was before that.
Gipty fucking do.
Oh, because it was probably about the fact that like how.
Oh.
Yeah.
I remember what I was gonna say. So what I've noticed about people from the city, especially the people that are from Seattle, that like have lived there their whole lives, is that that's all there is. Like to them, I know a ton of people that have like not been outside of the city unless they're traveling to like another place, like another state, or just like someplace hella far away, like Yakima or something like that. Because like I know a few people that like I work with that have pretty much lived here for like 10 plus years, like in Seattle, and then been like, oh yeah, I've been to like where the fuck ever, like Pullman or something like that, like hella far away on like the opposite end of the state. And what I think is funny about that is like people that live over here in like the smaller towns, they get outside and they like travel. You know, they've been to other parts of Washington. They've been to other parts.
We've actually
like,
seen the Olympic Peninsula.
Yeah, but it's like people from the city don't travel. They don't get out and do things. They're just a very like sedative type people. Like, because I don't know, when I first moved there, everybody was like, Seattle's really like health and like fitness and, you know, oriented around like getting outside and doing things. And I'm like, no, they're not though. Like that's
it's oriented around like getting outside and doing things around Seattle.
Yeah, it's like it's not. It's kind
or
of
just like pure working.
Yeah, it's like this weird like I don't know. There's this hub that exists in like the city where it's like
get out and do things as long as
Doesn't
it's within
Josh
like
have 2 jobs just
King
because
County.
there's nothing to do?
Yeah, he told one of our coworkers, Josh. He was telling me like, yeah, I work like 3 jobs, and I was like, why? Because, like, he doesn't need to. He could, like, support himself with one, sort of.
I work 3 jobs, because what else is there? What else am I supposed to do?
He was just like, I don't know what else to do. And I'm like, man, that sucks. Like,
So, like...
God, that's actually sad.
But it's true. When I worked in Seattle, or when I lived in Seattle, I mean, there was nothing to do. Like, unless all of my roommates, I had 8 roommates, and all they did was, like, go out drinking. They saw shows, they would, like, go to concerts, and they would go drinking.
Dude, that's why you get into gaming.
I'm not really into going to see concerts.
I mean, if I were to game, I would rather game, like, in a small town like this. Because, like, it's so much quieter, it's so much nicer. And, like, when I can open my fucking window and actually look out and see something instead of a bunch of buildings.
There was all of my roommates would play Fortnite, like, every night. The Fortnite was huge in that house. They played Fortnite like all the time. They would have LAN parties.
What a bunch of fucking heathens.
There was one time where we had like 3 monitors set up, and everyone was like playing Fortnite on like different Xboxes.
Jesus Christ.
Shit was crazy. Yeah, but yeah, that's like it's so dumb. Like, Fortnite. I feel way more like fulfilled being out here. Like I can hike, camp, go to the beach,
bike
everywhere. Yeah,
bike
like,
in Seattle.
Picnic, dude.
Yeah,
it's
but
just,
you could fucking love it. Like
it's just not fun.
There's
it's
just
like,
too much.
It's just too much going on. And the funny thing is, like, people will say, and this is also because, like, you know, we're from small towns, so it's like Seattle to me is a very tight, cramped city. But then for a lot of people, Seattle is not that way. Like, I have a coworker that lived in D.C. for a while, and I remember one time it was like my break at work, and I'm just like sitting inside eating a salad, and he's like, "Why don't you go outside and like explore things?" And I'm like, "It's just." He was like, "Don't you like hate being in like a box? Cause like you know just in the building all day." And I'm like, "Dude, if I go outside, I still feel like I'm in a box. I'm just surrounded by gray fucking buildings like the whole day. I still feel like I'm in a box." And he was like, "But like how? Like Seattle's like so spread out." And I'm like, "Yeah, but like I mean, to me it's not like." Where I grew up, being spread out is like, you know, being 20 miles away from...
You can see the horizon.
Yeah, from like another
Like,
place.
you don't look in any direction, you just see a building.
When I lived in Haynesville, my closest neighbor was like, you'd have to walk through the forest.
That's not true.
Yeah.
No, because
Yeah, you'd have to walk through the forest into Old Haynesville Road and then through those forests to get back to like where the other housing development.
We didn't live anywhere near Old Haynesville Road.
I'm talking when I lived in Haynesville with David.
Oh, okay.
On Haynesville Road. The closest person was like you'd have to walk through the woods.
I get what you're saying.
And that was cool.
I thought you were talking about when we were little kids living in Haynesville
No.
in the neighborhood.
No,
which was, in its way, still spread out, because even though it was a neighborhood, it wasn't a neighborhood like Gamblewood was, where everything was just like the same house.
Yeah, it was a lot
house
looser.
after house.
And there's also big pieces of trail and like forest that separate.
Yeah, it was like
housing
literally
development.
an entire neighborhood that was like, it had like all these kind of twisty turning roads that weren't connected in like a grid pattern. They just felt more natural, like you were driving through the woods.
The only part of that was
and there
like
happens to be houses.
the only part of that where that's not true is like Shorewoods, where it's like just a big like.
Well, yeah, but that's because they built it on like this step system.
Even that was cool
going
because
down
like
the
you're
beach.
surrounded by like this massive like cliffside with
Yeah, there's like a
trees
cliffside to your
and
right,
water.
shore to your left. You could just see all the way up and all the way down.
And they have one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best beaches in Washington. One of the best beaches I've ever been to, including like Santa Cruz, like parts of the Bay, like that.
Stansville?
Dude, Point No Point.
Oh, I love Point No Point.
That is
so
one
much.
of the sickest
It is
beaches
such an awesome beach
ever. Like it is such a tight beach.
I think Claylock is.
Claylock is great too, and like Beach 4 is cool as fuck.
I don't think
But,
I've
like,
ever been to those two, but I've been to Point No Point
Claylock
so
is
many times.
Claylock is the ocean over. It's this sweet ass fucking lodge they have there.
Yeah, it's on the coast.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't think I've ever
pretty
been.
close
It
to
is
Lake Crescent.
Fucking
Point No Point
beautiful.
was fucking amazing.
Lake Crescent,
I
right?
loved it so much.
Lake Crescent's cool as fuck too.
Yeah, they're
Or Chelan.
pretty close to each other.
Chelan is like just a beautiful place as
I
well.
want to go to the fucking beach.
Or the beach at Fort Warden.
Oh yeah, just the like what do they call that?
I can't remember.
We should go to Fort Warden at some
But
point.
yeah, that massive like spit.
Maybe later.
And then like Dungeness spit.
Oh, Dungeon of Spit is so great.
Dude, see that's the thing.
See,
like
you're missing out if you just think Seattle is.
fuck you,
like,
city folk.
Yeah.
Like, man, I can't get like this is the shit that I was always talk about. Like when I lived in Seattle, I was like, man, I want to go to like the beach or like the old forts or like something where I'm not surrounded by loud ass people in a loud ass city. Like I hate it. It's so annoying. And it's like
And like the
Like,
place is gloomy. If it's bright like this out,
Yeah.
it's
just like-
tolerable.
It's well, even if it's like bright, no clouds in the sky, it's still shrouded in like fucking shadows from all the buildings.
Well, and it's like the other thing, even if
Maybe
the
that's
ci-
why people think
There's parts of the
fucking
city that are
Seattle's always
super nice.
overcast.
there's parts of the city that are super nice, and there's buildings that are like fantastic, and there's parts that are just
there's
beautiful.
really cool parts.
But
too.
even when those parts are beautiful, there are still fucking tons of homeless people shitting all over the place, and it's really sad.
Like,
I'm not like
almost
ripping on
every
homeless
night-
people for being homeless, but it's like, I mean, goddamn, like how do you live in a place like that and not just be depressed all the time?
Well, because could you imagine Pioneer Square without all the tents?
it would be
Yeah,
That would look so much better.
that'd be different.
That'd be new.
It's just sad because it's like I don't understand how like poverty is everywhere. Like I'd be willing to bet that like Seattle probably has like one of the most intense wealth gaps in America.
yeah because
Just based on like you see people that are insanely wealthy, like Bill Gates. And then you see people that are like I think he lives somewhere near Seattle. I don't think he actually I think he lives in like Manette or something like that.
Who? Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
Yeah.
Where does Jeff Bezos live?
No idea. Does he live here in Washington?
I don't know. That's the thing.
I don't
But didn't Amazon start in Seattle?
I have no idea. I don't believe
Am-
so.
I believe Amazon started in
Look it up
Seattle.
real quick.
That was one of the things.
Yeah, just where's Jeff? Yeah.
Boeing, Amazon, and Microsoft were the three.
But
three
yeah,
biggest.
that's the thing is that like we have like
wait, what am I looking up?
Jeff Bezos where he lives. We have one of like Washington. I feel like is one of those states where like we have so much shit that has come out of Washington, like culture, music. I mean, look at like all of the. We still have like so much like Native American influence in Washington as well, and like you don't really see that in the city a whole lot. But like where we live, it's like we still have tribes that like exist and like do tribal things together and like.
Medina, community of Medina.
Okay, so that's here. That's Washington.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have motherfuckers like Jeff Bezos. Wait, is that Washington?
I just looked it up. Or just closed it. Hold on.
You should look it up. I think that's in Washington. I'm not sure, man. But
It's in Washington.
So you have motherfuckers like Jeff Bezos, and you have people like Bill Gates.
It's in Seattle.
Okay, so yeah,
Jesus.
live in Seattle and are like Jeff Bezos is the wealthiest person
in the world.
in the
right
world.
now.
Is he? Is it
Yeah.
the world that he's the
Yeah,
one?
right now he's
Not just the United States, but the whole fucking.
He's
globe.
number one. Who's
I'm gonna.
calling you?
Mom's calling me. I'm gonna take this call. Real quick.
Okay.
Should I stop this?
No, I'll just keep going.
I mean, like...
Well,
You're
you're
like
in
the
the middle
head
of
of
the
the-
story. So yeah, guys, Jeff Bezos is like the number one
But, like,
wealthiest. I don't know
I-
where he was taking it. Fuck.
I 100% agree with Carter on this one because, like, it's just, like... And what he was talking about with, like, so much poverty, like, you take, like, 4 steps, you've already seen, like, 7 people that are homeless, like, begging for money or food or something. Either has a dog to, like, get that sympathy going. Like, here, you see 3 people. You've seen, like, 3 people, and every single time you see 3 homeless people, it's always the exact same ones.
Yeah, that's true. But like
Like-
also around here, it's like
Because, like, I mean, it's just so much better, and, like, it's way easier to get a job here. It's cheaper. Granted,
well, also
do
you have
get
to look
paid
at
less.
the sheer just population size.
That's true. But, like...
Because of course, like with a higher population, there's also going to be more mental health issues. With higher mental health issues, statistically, it's going to be a higher poverty rate. Because most of the time you're homeless because of the mental health issues.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy ass shit.
Oh, we don't have any information about... Oh, whatever. So I just looked up, like, the populations of Seattle. They haven't updated it since 2016. But it says 704,032 is what it was.
Yeah, 704.
1,000 people. Look up the population of Paulsboro.
That's the population of Paulsboro.
I think we're in, like, the 15,000 right now.
10,400.
Oh, we're not even in the Oh my god. we're so small.
10,500. I saw it on the sign.
Oh, they haven't updated this since 2016 either.
I guess they just haven't updated
What the-
it. Wow.
Yeah, sorry for just totally ditching you guys for a second.
Yeah, I know.
Anyways, what I was saying about Jeff Bezos and fucking Bill Gates is like you have the richest, like some of the richest people, one of the richest people on Earth.
The number one richest
Yeah.
person on the planet right now.
And then homelessness is insane in Seattle. It is crazy how many homeless people there are in
We
Seattle.
were like just talking about that, and I was just saying, just like you take 3 steps, you've already seen 7 different homeless guys.
Easily.
Like,
Especially walking down Pike, you'll see 20 homeless people a night. That's just one street for like 10 blocks.
Mason
20
did
homeless people.
just mention the fact, like, the
You have to look at
population
like
size,
population
but
count,
it's still absurd.
Yeah, it's still insane, like
Yeah.
how many people. It's crazy. Like, I just don't understand how people can live there and not just be like absolutely depressed. But a lot of that is because, and I've realized this about the city, is that people do not give a shit about each other in Seattle. Like, for the most part, like, when you walk down the street, people are like not friendly. And I think it's just because
They just want to get through their day.
you've been when
Is
you
that
live in,
everybody though?
when I lived for the short period of time that I lived in the city, I realized this, that you like slowly get conditioned to like dislike other people, like whether it's conscious or subconscious. People don't communicate with each other and they don't talk to like other people because you never know like what. This happens to us all the time. Every time I walk to work, we get stopped by 2 or 3 people, especially on the walk home, and they'll be like, "You have any spare change? Like, please, I just need to eat." And it's like eventually it's like, "Shut up. Like, stop bothering me. Like, stop
Jesus.
trying to talk to me." And you get this like super negative, like, I hate everything attitude when it comes to like poverty. It's literally like rich people, or like, yeah, I feel like rich people do this a lot too. But it's like, you know, poverty becomes like a plague and you start to avoid it. Like, that's literally what it's like. I see people walk on the opposite side of the street or like just completely avoid other people.
Yeah, my dad trained me just to keep walking, ignore it, don't respond.
Trained.
It's like a conditioning. It's like a training.
Because I would always be like, sorry, we don't have any money, but my dad would be like, just keep walking.
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing that to Caleb, too. I'm just like, we probably shouldn't, though.
It's just fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I hate that.
Well, at the same time, like, I hate just passing by somebody without acknowledging them at all.
Yeah, I'll always be like, I don't have anything. I'll lie, because I always have money. But I can't do that. I can't just give away money.
That's the problem, is once I did that, because usually I'm all like, I don't have anything on me, sorry. And once I said that, and they're all like, well, there's an ATM, like, somewhere around here, and I'm all like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah, it's like, man, I'm not, just, no.
Yeah, I remember one time, like, Caleb and I were walking home, we had food and whatnot, and we had 2 things of rice and some thighs and whatnot, and someone came up to us and was like, can I have some of that food? And I was just like, no, sorry. And Caleb, we just kept walking, and later on Caleb mentioned the fact, like, we could have just, like, given one of the things of rice, and I was like, alright, think of it this way. When you're walking down the street and someone asks you for something, what's special about that person that to compel you to give them something when you could also give it to someone else who could be worse, dying or something?
Yeah, what if, like
I don't know. That's extreme.
Well, that is extreme, but even, like 20 feet down the road, somebody could also ask you for food, and then you're not going to give food to them, even though you just gave, like, a whole thing of rice.
Yeah.
Like, that's the way I look at it.
I just see it like, you have to help yourself before you can help somebody else. Like, if you're in a position where you can't give, then, like, what are you doing? Like, you're hurting 2 people rather than 1. And it's like, for me, a lot of the times, it's like, I don't make, like, tons of money or anything, especially because, like, I don't work a lot, and a lot of that is just because we have to commute 4 hours a day to get to work. But it's like, sometimes it's like, I get pissed, because it's like, man, I work really hard for this money. Like, we have to bike all the time, walk to work.
Yeah, it's not fucking easy.
It's not an easy day when we go to work, and, like, I don't want it. Like, that money is mine. Like, I worked fucking hard for that shit. Like, and, like, I've injured myself a lot. Like, I burned the shit out of my arm and, like, fucked up my leg. I almost had to get my leg amputated because of that infection that I got, which I know is from work because it happened at work. And it's like,
good times.
I literally sacrificed my body for my fucking job, and I don't want to be, like, giving that shit away. That's, like, hard to do.
Like, there was this guy that came into work one time, and he was just asking for food, and Luis was like, sure, just give us a little tip. Dude didn't tip. He just took the food, walked out. And right before he left, Luis walked up to him and was just like, yo, I'm not, like, burning myself, going to the hospital so I could give out free food. Like, what's your problem? And the dude just kept walking out. And I was just like, that's so fucked. Like, I was not happy about that. None of us were.
Yeah.
About the homeless guy?
I don't know if he was homeless or not. I'm pretty sure he did have money. He just, like, knew that we had a bunch of food we were going to waste. Yeah,
because that's true. It's like, man, I bust my ass to, like, make a living.
I've gotten more scars in these 4 months that I've been working there than I have ever had in my entire life.
Yeah, it's hard, dude. It's hard work. Like, and, like, I think that's the mentality that everybody has in Seattle, and I think that's fucking toxic. Like, I honestly, like, I hate myself for saying that kind of shit, but at the same time, it's like, what are you going to do? Like, that's kind of how it is. Like, like, why should you give to these people? But at the same time, like, why not give to these people? Like, it's so fucking convoluted. Like, there's no right answer, and I don't know how to feel about homelessness, because, like, there's so many, like, points on both sides. It's like, no, fuck no, I've worked really hard for this money. I'm in this life for myself. Like, fuck these people asking for shit. I don't ask for anything. I work for my money. I work for what I have. But then it's like, of course, you should help, like, people that are, like, down on their luck and, like, don't have all the things that you have. But so it's, I don't know how to, like...
Another thing is, like...
What do you do?
Why, like, how do you know they're actually going to do it? Because, like, a lot of homeless people, when you give them... I mean, it's just better to give food and whatnot. Because, like...
Yeah, I never give people money.
Yeah, don't ever give people money, no matter what.
Yeah.
That's always the bad move.
Because the addicts will just go buy like the thing they're addicted to, cigarettes, cocaine, shit like that.
Yeah, you know when people get homeless because they're addicted to smoking?
I mean, it's just like, because... fuck you.
Yeah, Coke.
Guys,
and Coke isn't that big in Seattle, I don't
Coke
think.
is huge in Seattle.
Not for homeless people.
For anybody.
Oh, yeah, no.
For anybody, man.
I feel like...
Dude, legit, like...
I feel like it's more heroin than...
No.
I see a lot more Coke go through Seattle than heroin, for
like,
sure.
I remember this one time...
Especially casually. Like, people just doing Coke.
I remember...
Tons of people do Coke
one time,
in Seattle.
it was me, Carter, Caleb. We were all walking to the ferry. And, there's this lady that had, like, a wristband because she was just at the hospital, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, was it the one who asked me to cut her band off?
Yeah, she just casually mentioned, was like, I could get some Coke right now.
Yeah.
Like, I could use some Coke. Coke sounds nice. I'm
blow
just
is like a huge thing there.
Like, Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, man, I don't know. There's just a lot about it that makes me, like so oh shit.
Yeah, honestly, like...
disgusted. There's just disdain that I have for, like,
if you're, thing. Like, into that type of thing, I'm sure there's people, like, sure, just, like...
You know, if you're into Coke...
I'm not talking about Coke, just living in the city, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, living in the city. Okay, if you're into living in the city.
Like, sure...
I'm just not that kind of person.
Like, I like these woodsy areas. It's, like, super relaxing to me, and it's, like, so nice.
I just like the...
Well, especially since, like...
the country life.
Washington has literally
working outside.
Any kind of, like, area you could want. We got coastlines.
Beaches, deserts, huge
forests,
woodland areas.
Mountains.
Cities. If you're a disgusting trash man that likes cities. I just hate it, man. I just don't get it. Like, I get it because, like, work opportunities and stuff like that. But, like, what about the people that just, like all the people that I work with? They just, like, work in the restaurant industry, and that's pretty much it. And they treat it like something that's, like, so intense. They're like, I don't know. They just, like, treat it like it's such a big deal. And it's like, man, you work in a small restaurant that is just like any other restaurant. It's not special.
There's nothing special. Like,
it's just
our menu
restaurant.
is just small. That's the only difference.
It's just, I don't know. People get so hyphy about it. And it's like, man, you're not doing anything important. Like, you're just work in a smaller restaurant or in like a small place. Or I don't know, like, try to own your own place or something. Like, it just seems like people are so weirdly hyphy about it. And they treat it like it's like this huge just opportunity. I don't know. It's no different from the places around here. It's just that it's in a city.
Yeah.
I don't get like the hype behind like all of the restaurant industry in Seattle especially. It's just like people are so
because there's also like
about it.
Better restaurants too.
Well, I don't want to say that because it's like there's always like people have their opinions and you know what is good and what is not is so subjective, but it's like,
well, yeah, sometimes
who cares, man? Like, it's just not...
like a fucking shitty ass burger could be way better sometimes than like a $50 steak.
Dude, like Drifters, that place, people love that place. That food is just
greasy and disgusting.
Yeah, but it gets like it's what they want. Like, they come there expecting greasy, like just garbagey food, and that's what they get. And that's, I mean, it does its job. It's there for a purpose, or whatever, I guess.
And sometimes that's just the perfect fucking meal.
Dude, the people that like we work with or that work in other restaurants and stuff like that, they get like so weird about it. And it's like, man, at the end of the day, you're just a fucking cashier, or like you're just a line cook. Like, there's nothing special about the job that you have. Like, you're just doing that.
And you're just at a different place than someone else. Like, my sister, when working at Dick's, they'll train you for every single position, and throughout the day, you'll swap positions.
It's because Dick's is an assembly line. Come on.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it's like a fast food joint. That's all it is.
Yeah, but it's like... Okay, so you can, when you go up to Dick's, when you look in the window, you can see in there, right?
Yeah. Well, it's like...
Okay, so everybody's all like, oh, McDonald's is like an assembly line, or any fast food place is like an assembly line, and that's true. But Dick's, when I look into there, and like you could see like all the burgers. They're like making 60 burgers at once.
Okay, hold up.
Using all these machines and shit, and I'm sitting there and I'm all like, this is actually truly like a mass.
Real quick though, the assembly line thing, that's how all restaurants are.
Well, yeah, that's
it's like what being
like
a
if you're on a
line
line cook, you are in a
it's
like
the same shit.
It is
it's
an
just
assembly line.
cheap and shitty.
All right, first off, let's talk about that real quick. Let's talk about.
But I'm mainly talking about because of this machinery shit they're using.
Hold on, they have to like the way they do it there and how much more busy it is than most places. They have to do it.
Oh yeah, it's hella fucking efficient.
Dick's is basically just like
because they literally have 3 fucking burgers.
They have 2.
Oh, 2 burgers.
They have a cheeseburger and a hamburger. And
no, they have cheeseburger, hamburger deluxe, and a special deluxe.
So
4. Okay.
And then fries, shakes, sodas. That's all they got.
Yeah.
You can't custom any of
Keep
that.
it simple as fuck.
Yeah, because they just don't bullshit.
Like,
they're like,
they're just like,
this
is what you get. There's no changing it.
Get it, like,
yeah.
Well, because they already make it.
The way they do that
Everything's
because of like how fast you can get that stuff out. A lot of people like going there because it's just like you get there, you pay for it, and then you're gone.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying. Like with Drifters, it's like that. It's like you just go in, get your shit, and leave.
Yeah, like
and
they pre-make
exactly
everything. They heat it and then they give it to you.
Trash food.
And they have to mass produce it like that, otherwise they won't be able to keep up.
No. I understand that. I'm not bashing on that. I'm just saying that like
it looks like an industrial.
Yeah, it looks so fucking industrial.
Well, it is. I mean, really.
Yeah. Like that shit's crazy.
Alright, well shit, this is probably a good time to end it.
Yeah. Alright. Have a good day, my guys.
Yeah.
Good dude, deuces.
And don't eat too many dicks.
I would suck a dick to get some dicks.
I would
jerk a guy off to get some dicks. There we go.